In this video, I'm going to talk to you about what it is like from the inside to be a Scorpio rising person. Oh my god, I didn't even eat it. Okay. Yo, so this life is like teaching me so much about the dissolving of my ego, of the strength and the inspiration that it brings when you're completely emotionally vulnerable and you are transparent in your expression of emotion. This is also teaching me not to apologize for my energy because it is powerful and a lot of people will generally be offended by it just being in the same room. Or they'll just walk up to you and be like, there's like different layers that you experience with every rising energy, of course. But it's a very potent energy to be a Scorpio rising person. Notice how I'm not making super, super direct eye contact. One thing that Scorpio rising is known for is its eyes. Very, very piercing. Will not move. The utmost focus. Being a fixed sign, it is called in this lifetime to stabilize, to master stabilization of emotions because it's a water sign, but also focus. I've got my Mercury in Scorpio, my Pluto in Scorpio, Venus in Scorpio, Rising in Scorpio, Vesta in Scorpio. I've got a whole bunch of stuff in Scorpio. I'm very Scorpio. People see Scorpio. If they walk up to me, that's what they see. It's just the physicality. It's the way that I communicate. Water signs with their Mercury, water Mercuries are generally the best singers in my opinion. They got the runs for days because they just flow. The Scorpio essence is not afraid of being broken and a little raw and a little, like use that sort of like, that sort of stuff. Oh, think Prince, very much my essence. Think Justin Bieber, very much my essence. Um, but on the inside, right? At a young age, we'll just start from day one. Very, very early childhood for me was when I was challenged, Mars energy, right? Being Scorpio. The first thing that I would do is cry. I'm just emotional about it. Like things are piercing and there's like this essence that is very vulnerable and it's watery and your older sister's trying to poke your eyes. Your older sister's trying to, come at you with her mission to destroy you or something, and you just cry about it. It's not acceptable for you to cry in your initial upbringing. So we are, from a very young age, I was at least, taught to kind of suppress my emotions and control them on a very immature and a young, low vibe state. Any Scorpio rising person will use emotions to manipulate other people because they are taught to master them when they're really, really young. Master the expression of them because, whatever your Mars is in, there is going to be this pull and this focus of how are you going to express it? Now, I am a Mars in Cancer person. So my Mars is in the 8th house. Boom! Even more Scorpio. Moon in the 8th house. Boom! More Scorpio. Holy crap. So being a water Mars in Cancer and being a Scorpio rising person with all these other planets in Scorpio, the initial thing that I'm usually going to do when I face things is cry. I cry every single day. It is a very important aspect of my day. I might cry, 5 or 6 times. Just depends. Somebody like me with a late degree Scorpio rising is Cancer. there's like an underlying, I'm 21 degrees Scorpio rising, and Pluto is right on my ascendant. Lucky me. Um, I have this essence of Cancer to begin with. So Cancer is, kind of like a crybaby. It Mars itself being in the eighth house, there's a lot of people that come into my life trying to project their power issues. They try to sleep with me. Being a Scorpio rising woman to begin with, you're kind of just sexy. I don't know. I just work here. It's nothing that you do. You don't have to do anything, and that's the whole like Scorpio thing. I love withholding because, especially like online, I see so many girls are like showing their bodies, and I'm like, yeah, I'll give you a little taste. Here's a little chest. We are the queens and kings of sex, so, and I'm not saying like get that out of your head, but like for real, Scorpio is big sex energy, so a lot of like power play issues with using sex against me has come in, like men have just come into my life that are very successful. Scorpio rising people also attract other people of very high power, in fame, in notoriety, in reputation, in wealth, like whatever, money things, because Scorpio. Yeah, I've just experienced a lot of like men coming in, they're like, I own you. And you go, I am owned by the stars. Or like you say some abstract thing and they're like, okay. And the whole thing with Scorpio on a low scale is like vindictive, revengeful. Anything that you see online is probably true. But it's more so on like the low vibe thing. When everybody does this whole like cancel culture, it's usually just in reference to like the unevolved level of the essence that Scorpio is, or any sign. But yeah, I mean, everything comes back around. And so, given the opportunity, if this person comes back into my life after taking so much from me, or, like trying to use their power, like thrust their power on me, I'm going to thrust my power on them and have them canceled. So, no, I'm just kidding. Or am I? I don't know. You'll never know. So, okay, teenage level. My hair was black as a teenager. Very dark. Very pale skin. Supple yellow because I'm Mars rising in Cancer. But, super pale like the moon, but also really sharp and piercing and dark because Scorpio. I got schooled in school. I basically had, my tongue is a knife. I can like probe and find somebody's insecurities with a Mercury in Scorpio and find their open wound and put my knife in their open wound. And it's a seemingly, that sounds artistic, but it's painful for people. When you see, like, being a psychic, watery sort of person, you're kind of gifted with this, like, people's veils of their masks and stuff are just kind of like out the window. Like, dude, I see through you. And it bothers people that I can see through them. Or it intrigues them and they go, wow, figure me out. Help me out. And then there's like this part of you that's like, I would love to help you out, but you need to help yourself out. Like there was a part of me, maybe even a couple years ago or last year, where I had friends that like really needed fixing and they came to me for fixing. And being a water sign, you're kind of a healer and emotionally intuitive, and you can give people what they need, like they need that emotional healing, because in society we're told to suppress our emotions, right? I still kind of did the opposite anyway, but and people are fascinated with it and they want more of it because they can't do it themselves and they need help figuring out how. That's why you get Scorpio rising people in your life. So I'm eating blueberries and God, great little snack. Blue. This is the color of Scorpio. Blueberry. Dark. A dark berry. Definitely blackberry. You know, kind of a layer that's, it's a skin, right? It's not a firm skin. It still holds its ground. It still pops when you bite it. Scorpios are blueberries. Now, teenagehood, I said the opposite. I would say things, you know, in like political classes and in the education realm that jarred people. And, you know, it didn't make me many friends. Some people loved how sassy I was, and we're also very self-aware. But the difference between being self-aware and doing something about it is two different things. Like, there are some people that are self-aware and choose not to fix it. There's somebody like me who is like down for the change, like really down to just let go of, like, I'm not really the type of I still have the same way that I see through people, but I choose my audience now. Like, I know my audience and I'm able to say things and not be so cutthroat about it. Whole thing is grace, right? Like, grace under fire. So yeah, I mean, I would say some really cutthroat things that had social groups like, yo, she's a B word. Yeah, I mean, that was basically, I assumed everybody thought I was a B word. And then, you know, young adulthood, of course, like I talked about, you are coming into your womanhood and experiencing men and like romantic partnerships and friendships. Just kind of everything's a power play. There's some trauma involved because a Scorpio rising person is not exempt from its big life lessons of transformation and wounding. You know, like, we're being a water sign, we just attract people who want to hurt you. You know, like, it sucks, but it's also the beauty of it. So I had a very fair share of trauma regarding like sexual stuff and, you know, being suppressed as a child. Of course, being also kind of like a late degree Scorpio rising. I have Sagittarius in my first house, so I grew up in a very religious home that suppressed the like information and the sort of like education on sex. So of course, when you leave your first home environment, like, people are going to take it, they see it on you. They see anything that you're missing, like, other people will reflect that. And you're like, why is this happening to me? Oh yeah, because that's what I didn't see in my first upbringing. Or my first upbringing. You gotta reparent yourself, right? Part of it is going through all of that really hard stuff. A lot of the stuff for me was sexual in my early 20s, and like, I don't know. I also was like on my way to just becoming my own boss and like wanting to kind of tie the ropes for myself, learning how through other people. And of course, you're not really exempt from like romantic relationships and business relationships. So of course, there's like stuff with, you know, coworkers. And that's what's kind of dope about the 7th house, is we're kind of, you can find your partner in your work environment, but a lot of the time you might experience some toxic stuff too, which is why like you can't really mix marriage with business a lot of the time. It's rare. Or if you do it for short amounts of time, not your entire career. So, but yeah. And now, I mean, I feel like there are periods where I undergo and I isolate. I undergo transformations in small spurts, in large chunks of time. I could view my entire life just as an ever evolving You know, like you start here and you just turn the wheel and then you rise from the ashes like a phoenix. And right now I'm kind of evolving from this little scorpion with a tail into the eagle, which is like the second phase. And going into your 30s and your 40s and stuff, I'm eventually going to, you know, become that phoenix and resolve everything from the ashes, from all the downfall and the destruction of life. Like, I'm not ever saying like or wishing, you know, destruction upon my life, but I'm also very aware and keen so far on life experiences that like everything surrounding death, all the hard things in life kind of help you grow. And life is not meant to be easy. That's something that a Scorpio rising person will say. If you have it easy, you ain't living, you know? Some people live easy lives. They've got a free-flowing Gemini rising essence and, you know, like, I don't know. Some people have it easy, but then their life is boring and they don't do anything. So what do? Life is an adventure. So this eagle I feel like I have seen, I'm just going to take it, you know, to a different side, the different evolutions of the Scorpio. I feel like I've witnessed, life has revealed to me all of the different levels of the essence of Scorpio, in my clients, in my friend groups, just in symbolism and stuff shown to me through art. I'm able to connect with all the layers of Scorpio to envision where my life will go. I've had very young, early degree rising Scorpio friends kind of manipulate through social circles with money, providing services with them, and them thinking they don't really have to pay what everybody else pays. And then having people like, you know, you have a down, you know, a slip up with a friend, and then they're not as evolved as you, so they take everybody, you know, like the Scorpio energy is very potent and powerful and can lure people in and manipulate. You can have like a whole circle of people that are just in your thing. And so I had like, I didn't even lose like the Scorpio rising or the Scorpio sun person. I not only lost that person, but I lost, they like turned around a whole bunch of people against me, or, you know, and not against, they just disappeared out of my life too. Cause I was like, dude, you gotta like respect me, you know? That's a whole nother thing. Like being a water rising sign, doing that to other water rising people, you can't be doing that. Cause like eventually we do stick up for ourselves, and it's probably the fixed water sign more than anything that is able to like stand up for itself and be like, yo, no, like, are we gonna do this or not? But, you know, then I've also seen, so, like, lower vibe Scorpio will be manipulative, emotionally manipulative in social settings, expect everybody to pay for them. The descendant being Taurus, like and Scorpio just is other people's money. So there is this kind of underlying immature aspect of Scorpio that expects other people to just give because they just want to receive without realizing there is a method to how you give, and if you give more, you get more. And it's not like you give to get, but you know this exchange of energy, being a psychic person, like, it's just part of the lesson, right? So the more evolved Scorpios that I've seen are really just this pure white, like they're radiant and they are the phoenix risen from the ashes. I've had clients in their 60s that are Scorpios, and I feel so blessed to experience their essence, like, and it's pure, it's bright, it is confident, it is not overwhelming. It's just kind of angelic in a way that I just can't even describe. Like, all of my Scorpio clients, all of the layers of them are beautiful to me. They're just, you know, whatever sort of self-understanding they have, there's still this drive to overcome, and I feel like the older you are, the more in your essence you are. So these ladies in my salon chair were like freaking dope. They were like not people pleasers. They knew what they wanted, but they were also down and flexible and had such insight, and were, you know, they always talked about like talking to their animals and having like, you know, animal whispering sessions with their horses and like being able to communicate with nature through nature, being able to communicate with the dead and like all the occult stuff. Like, yeah, they represent that. It's just in their being. And that's what I represent too. I mean, this is the reason why I'm talking about astrology right now. It's just a passion and a natural thing. I just understand it. So here we are. People like me need to be talking about this kind of stuff. We can't be keeping it a secret. And we can't have all these fruity people like give you the fake stuff about it. You're going to have a lot of people who don't understand Scorpio energy online cancel this energy, tell you that it's not feasible or like acceptable, and that, you know, it's really negative, and we should just all hate Scorpios because they're manipulative. And I'm just here to tell you, it is the most bang for your buck. It is the most bang for your buck in a lifetime. When I walk in a room, I'm able to move and shift the energy, and it has allowed me to be in rooms that I don't think, like, none of my friends that I know of that aren't this essence, they couldn't ever handle it. They would never be in those rooms because they're not me, and they're not that essence that it requires, you know, like that sort of power that this essence, regardless of my consciousness of it, exudes. Like, people just kind of end up telling you what you are, and the world is brought to you, and you go, you can either accept it or deny it or whatever. Like, everything's a choice. But to exit out of your upbringing kind of like at a loss, and trying to use your emotions as a form of self-expression, and then having people that really need you pick you and go, this is where you are. This is where you're supposed to be. It's a great feeling, because all along you kind of know deep down that you're meant for something big. You're meant, like, this sort of essence just doesn't sit back and go, yeah, I'll just let somebody else do it. Like, no. You are going to be that person. You are going to know when and where. You're going to go when nobody else is looking, where nobody else is looking, and you're going to be the one that is going to be in those rooms. And that's just basically me. And also just a really hardworking person, a really freaking hardworking person that is vulnerable, but is fixated and stabilizes its energy and its focus to make sure that it is the most successful. It is also very competitive. And I compete in ways that nobody can beat me in. Like, I want to be unstoppable in this lifetime. And like, there is a part of me that's just kind of unconsciously doing that, and has always been doing that in the skills that I'm in. Like, if I'm going to display something to you, like a skill that I've got, I'm going to know everything about it, so that if you have a question, I'm going to be able to give you the answer. It's like this over-preparedness that you know, like the Scorpio is kind of underestimated. It's given no a lot of the time, without the whole, like, well, what do you have to offer? You know, like, what is your intelligence and stuff? So when we are given the opportunity, and we are actually focused on, and we're given the audience, we know exactly what to say, and we know what's missing. So boom. That is the Scorpio Rising told from a Scorpio Rising person. And being a Mars in Cancer, Scorpio Rising person above all, I'm a very spiritual person. So, and family is very important. Love you guys. Thank you so much for watching.